Welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. We're doing a round 2 today. I just came out of a meditate state and just trying to ward off a headache, and well, I had some like messages and it seemed pretty important. So thought what I do, and what I am is I'm a Heyoka. I'm a wise clown. I'm an empath, and one of those people that are too much, those oversensitive types, the ones that, you can't watch a movie with because they cry at everything. Big babies. Yep, I'm one of those. I don't mind. It's part of being aware of yourself. Self-awareness is not common in society. It's not really accepted. You got to put yourself in a little box. You got to act the way people want you to act to fit into certain groups, and it's just, well, when you live in a society that changes things all the time, it's hard to figure out which rules you're supposed to follow. So I always live my life by universal law, not man's law. They change their minds all the time, just with the way the wind blows. There's no consistency. Any process that's done, no two people are going to have the same experience because there are no standards, or the standards are so sub that they're only contingent on who's in charge and how they feel that day. No. You see, I see visions of a world, of a better place that is, he's trying to dominate, that is, where everyone can fit in. Not just, certain demographics, not just certain mindsets, but all the mindsets. I never fit into the world. I never felt like I belong here. Nobody ever freaking was overwrought with desire to make me comfortable, more so in any situation. So, I never lived in the same world a lot of people live in. People that are grew up in poverty, being aware of what it's like to be hungry for a while, not just a day or two, but that's how you really learn tribal living then, because you can't, it's selfish if there is imbalance. And that's kind of a message that I like to reiterate over and over. See, the way I look at it is our souls, our spirits, they're canisters, and they attract vibration like attracts like. And so what happens is, with every emotion, character, defect, characteristic, whether it's a defect or not, because one man's junk is another man's treasure, you know what I mean? Every characteristic has a vibration to it. And the highest vibration is love. That's the one I always keep trying to reach. I try and live there. God, I have an ego too, so I get mad about stuff. I get indignant. I get into my justifiable anger and all that stuff, and when all that stuff starts flaring, it just tells me that my ego's too big. Egos can be important. They're good to let you know if somebody's for you or against you. That's how I use it. The tool that I use it for. But a lot of people get buried in their ego. Yeah. The lowest vibration. Oh, with love, I see bright white, blinding, like iridescent, like looking at a bubble. The rainbow suds in a bubble. That's how I look at love. If you could look at love, it would look like the little rainbow squirms on a bubble and playing with bubbles. And then the lower vibration on the other side of that is dark. It's all black. It's absence of light. And that is fed and made darker with greed and just selfishness and self-serving, egotistical, look at me, when people are filling their insides with outside stuff to fluff that pillow to make it bigger than it actually is. You see, and so when I meet a person and I'm trying to determine who they are, this is kind of what I see in my mind. It's just a grayscale, right? It's nothing fancy, it's just a grayscale. And then for every behavior, action, what shade are they? And then you start looking at them and they start collecting different, if they're up here more often than they're down here, because up here in the darker shades to me is in the darker shades is away from the light. We should look at it like that. So when you're doing all this self-serving stuff, that's what your soul turns into. Yeah, there's no room for light. So when you're filling yourself up with outside stuff to make yourself better, make yourself look better, property, money, prestige, stuff like that, it's really quite phony, and it's an easy tell for me. And I help teach people how to read people. Or actually, I know that people already know how to read people. I help people stand more in their belief in themselves to calibrate that knowing and become used to and comfortable and encourage them to follow that. Yeah. See, because when people go without, they don't want other people go without. There's just, the balance is just off the scale right now. It's so far off the scale. No. Yeah, I am not doing Christmas. I am protesting any holiday where there is so much on the planet and there is so much distance between the highest of the high and the lowest of the people that are in need. Yeah, there's so many people in need. Yeah. So when I start seeing more people come forward, with more famous people that have $1 million to spend on dinosaur bones, it's your right. But it just tells me a little bit more where you sit on that scale. Yeah, yeah. I don't know, the way I look at it is when everyone has a house and, can take a nice warm bath or a hot shower, then you can spend millions of dollars on dinosaur bones. But until then, I don't know. I just look at things being in a society where things are more fair. And, people always are so fast to say, well, life isn't fair. Well, yeah, I get that, but why is it that you have to be the dissidents and create problems within it, I'm talking about, like, bureaucrats. Yeah, the ones that think it's okay to just sit on your hands and make processes, that could be down to weeks to help people. No, you sit on your hands because you're oh so busy on vacations and stuff like that. So your weekly processes, no, they turn into 7-8 months. Yeah. And then that's when people are losing their homes and stuff like that. But I have a lot of ideas on how to fix this. I just can't get through to the right people. No, because I don't fit in a box. I don't look a certain way. I'm not pretty. I'm not, sexy. I'm not hot, and I won't fuck ya. So, how are people like me supposed to get through in the world? Because we are wholesome and genuine. And see, because all that greedy stuff, it's all manipulated. So you're trying to sell yourself to get me to believe that you are a certain way. You're in the dark scale, y'all. Yeah. Anytime when I see anybody that is more for the group that they're a part in, see, what happens is, I'll explain it like this. What happens is at first, each of us have this scale inside of us, is what happens, right? And you go to a situation, do you want to help or do you want to hinder? And every time I help and I do the right thing, I add a little bit more light to my color scheme, my palette, right? Every time I'm selfish or I'm an ego, if you're getting down to the gray area, you might want to check that. Do a personal inventory. Where are you being selfish? Where are you in fear? Because usually if I'm in fear, then that's when I start dipping down into the gray area. And when I'm in fear, it also tells me I'm not flexing my faith. I'm not living in my faith. Because you cannot have both at the same time. It can't be done. Anyway, so what happens is when people find they calibrate, they get balanced in where they sit in their own personal constitution with their values and their own frame of reference and stuff like that. And then they take this out into the world. So whenever you get into a group of people, more than one, make that connection, you're merging color palettes, right? So you have my energy with your energy. We're either gonna spark and create to add to the world, or we're gonna create some sort of dissonance that takes from the world with having some kind of confrontation or pissing contest or something like that. There ain't no time for that. The world has seen enough of that. So, and then when that you have your personal vibration, and then you add your collective vibration on whatever level you're on, whether it's like at the grocery at the post office with the one person, or at the laundromat and you're sharing space with several people, or you're in a city, it contains that vibration of the average shade in each person. So if you have any sort of organization that is just like been built in the heart space of greed, like I'm going to start this business to make a lot of money and buy a lot of things and travel around the world and just be wasteful and negligent and all that stuff. No, there's never been a time for that. There's never been a place for that. People just made it okay. But people make up rules and stuff all the time. Anyway, there's a lot of people that are light that are trying to raise everybody else up to, hey, you know, they, through extreme circumstances, they can keep a positive attitude too. Well, maybe my life isn't so bad. Somebody always has it worse than us. Always has it worse than us. So those are the ones I'm thinking about. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to put my little gray color scale talk out there. I hope you all have a rad day. Peace.